Hi everybody, my name is Kunal Anand and I'm F5's Chief Technology and AI Officer. And today I am super excited to walk you through what we're doing together with Microsoft Azure. My talk is called Securing and Delivering AI Workloads in Azure with F5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by walking you through a little bit about the partnership between F5 and Azure, specifically Microsoft. And then what I'm going to do is spend some time walking you through the core pillars of AI. Afterwards, I'll walk you through what we're doing at F5, and I'll spend some time showing and sharing something super exciting around a new service that we built together with Microsoft. Now, a little bit of context on F5. We are an application delivery and security organization, and we work with some of the largest organizations on the planet. And we ended up building a very strong partnership with Microsoft, and we've built numerous integrations between Azure Sentinel, Entra ID, Azure vWAN, AKS, and something that I'm going to be super excited to walk you through later on, NGINX as a service, which is a native service that we put together with Microsoft, and we think you're really going to love it. So let me jump in and walk you through the core pillars of AI applications. I'll start by walking through the two distinct phases of AI today, and that's model training, and on the other side, it's model inference. Model training is about how an organization can either leverage their own data, their own information, to go and construct a model for very specific needs or purposes. And today we see organizations leveraging their proprietary data, information that they've collected over the years across data stores in the entire digital estate, to go and build a model. And those processes and the construction of those models can be somewhat complex, but of course, our friends at Microsoft have done an awesome job of making that process just so much simpler. Of course, there's some organizations that may not choose to go and build a model. They may end up leveraging a third-party model that's already out there. For instance, they might be able to leverage something like OpenAI or some other SaaS-based model. Regardless, once a model is trained and built, an organization is going to want to go and use that model. That's called inference, where a model is going to be used to generate some sort of prediction. And the way that a prediction happens either is triggered from an individual like you or I going directly to one of these AI applications or a front end and either asking the application a question or a query, or the application is doing that on our behalf to the underlying model. And again, that model could be deployed just about anywhere. It could be deployed in an on-premises environment, or it could be deployed in Azure. Now, one of the unique things with respect to inference is a technique called RAG, stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. And what we see today is organizations are leveraging their own proprietary data to unlock the full potential and the full power of these models, whether it's first-party models or third-party models. And what that means in practice, and in this diagram here, you've got users who are accessing an AI application or an AI-powered application, which in turn is accessing a bunch of data that is then being fed together with a prompt to the model. And again, that could be a foundational model, a niche model, or an enterprise-built model. So RAG is a very, very popular workflow that organizations are implementing today, and we see many organizations going down this path to unlock the full value of inference. Now, in this era that we're in right now, in this era, the AI era, is very unique compared to prior eras, primarily because organizations are hybrid and multi-cloud, and the numbers are astounding. What we hear and what we see is 9 out of 10 companies are living in this hybrid and multi-cloud state, and it isn't because they want to. They're doing it because of the fact that they've got data in all of these unique environments, and they want to be able to leverage that data, whether it's part of inferencing or even as part of training. And we call that data gravity. Data lives in these environments. And so today, organizations are trying to figure out how they can use that data for training or how they can bring those specific workloads to the data itself. Now, when you put it together, the way that organizations are gluing everything in their environment right now is with APIs. So again, if I look at the ecosystem right now, or I look at the way that an AI application is composed, this AI application is made up of many services, many APIs that are designed to collect and pull and aggregate all sorts of information. And they all work in concert, they all work together. But when you have an AI application that is making a call to a foundational model or a first-party model, it is going through another API. So in a sense, APIs are really gluing this entire ecosystem together, and that's really important to know because that has security ramifications for organizations writ large. Now, AI applications are just different. They're different in lots of different ways. I already talked about the model, but they're also different in terms of traffic, data, and users. In terms of traffic, models don't have to be text-based. Models could also be full of images or videos or audio. There's lots of different types of models out there. And the unique thing about this is that given RAG, and such that we might be retrieving all sorts of information inside of an organization for a single query, traffic is just very non-deterministic. And when you add in the fact that the data could also be binary and not just language, well, that creates a whole bunch of complexity for organizations that are trying to manage their networks and how they optimize those networks. With respect to data, I already alluded to the fact that people are going through and trying to find and use their data across all their different environments, but the data is also different. The data could be structured, it could be semi-structured, it could be unstructured. And when it comes to things like retrieval augmented generation, how do you collect all that data as fast as possible, assemble it and send it off to a model in real time, wait for a response, and then manage that response on the other side? There's a lot of complexity there. And then with respect to users, one of the things that I think from a security perspective, people are just beginning to realize now is that the model is the data. When you train a model, you're training it with data. A model is just data. And so organizations are now starting to think through the security ramifications, and they're worried about oversharing. They're worried about bad access to the underlying model, which again is just data. So these AI applications are different, and they're different across these dimensions, but they're also similar. And what I want to do is walk you through an example. Specifically, let's imagine that you as an organization are building an AI-powered chatbot. A chatbot that can answer customer questions, maybe it's a support bot. And today you've got folks from the outside who are able to go through a web application or some web interface to ask a question. And those chatbots or that specific chatbot might be able to go to a data store to retrieve a bunch of data and fundamentally call some sort of AI engine or some sort of AI factory that could be deployed inside of an organization's environment. And we'll start by talking through the workflow. One thing that's just important to note, and I already talked a little bit about security, is the fact that AI applications, while they could just be considered by many as just standard applications like a web app or an API, they're a little bit different. There is something called the OWASP LLM Top 10. I encourage everyone to go and take a look at that. And that defines a new set of security issues and concerns that organizations are thinking through and dealing with. And so when you have something like a chatbot that's exposed, you have to be mindful of the OWASP API Top 10, the OWASP Application Top 10, and also the OWASP LLM Top 10. And of course, I spent some time talking about APIs. APIs glue everything together, including calls to something like an AI factory. An AI factory could be a series or a cluster of GPU servers. It could be something that you are running in your own environment. It could be GPUs that you're leveraging in Azure as well. Or it could be some sort of SaaS service. It could be like OpenAI. Now let's start with the workflow, which is if I go to a chatbot and I ask it a question, let's say, help me solve a specific problem, what this is going to do is maybe go to an enterprise data store, go and fetch a bunch of previous support tickets that may look like what I'm trying to ask, fetch all of that information from that data store, and then feed all that information in to the factory, to the model. And again, that model can live anywhere. That model can execute anywhere. But what you can see is a full workflow where someone from the outside is able to pass in some query or something to a chatbot, which can then go to a data store, fetch whatever it needs, and then supply that back to the AI factory. And this is what the emerging traffic flow is looking like today inside of these organizations, inside these cloud-based or these physical data centers that people have deployed. And now I want to talk about what we're doing at F5, given all that setup and how we're helping organizations with respect to AI and how we're doing that together with Microsoft. I want to start by walking you through who we are as an organization. we have developed the only unified application delivery and security platform in the world, and we've done it with incredible market-leading capabilities. Now, we have what we call our anywhere capabilities, and that includes things like application delivery, secure multi-cloud networking, some zero trust capabilities, web application and API protection, and some emerging AI security and delivery services. And we pull all of this together, all these capabilities together, and we put them into form factors that are relevant and really tailored to customer needs. We have some organizations that want all this technology, all these capabilities in a form factor of a physical appliance or a virtual appliance. And that's what we call big IP. We have some organizations that want this as a lightweight ingress controller, and that's NGINX. And of course, we have some organizations that want this as a cloud-based service where F5 is going to manage all of the ADC capabilities through our own cloud. And that's what we call distributed cloud services. And so we're the only company in the world that has the combination of these capabilities that can distribute those capabilities throughout the unique product families that we've developed over the many, many years. Large enterprises all over the world have come to trust and rely on F5's capabilities, as well as leverage all of these delivery vehicles, whether it's Big IP, NGINX, or distributed cloud services, to solve their unique problems. Now, let's take NGINX, and this is what I'm super excited to walk you through today. NGINX is something that we're really proud about, we're really excited about. And recently, we partnered with Microsoft to build an incredible new experience for NGINX. And we call it F5 NGINX as a service in Azure. And what we're able to do is really help organizations with respect to the full lifecycle management of NGINX while allowing them to get incredible application performance and efficiency from NGINX that they've come to love and rely upon. And we've built all these awesome integrations today with NGINX as a service. What I can start with and share is from the developer experience, and for the developers who are tuning in, you might be used to leveraging specific SDKs in Azure or specific CLIs or even something like Terraform. We support all of that. And you may be looking or needing integration with some of the Azure services, which could include things like Active Directory, Key Vault. It could also be Azure DevOps. We have those integrations as well. And best of all is that F5 NGINX as a service is available in Azure Marketplace, which means that from a simplicity perspective, you can go on, you can acquire or procure the technology and capability. It can be up and running in your own environment, and it's the same NGINX that you're used to, wrapped around a lovely and a beautiful service that makes it easy to pull in and leverage across your digital estate. So we're really excited about this. The feedback from customers who've gone down and are using this in production is incredible. And so for those who are NGINX fans or have used NGINX before, we really recommend that you check this capability out. And we're really thrilled to do this partnership with Microsoft, and we couldn't be here without the support of Microsoft and the Azure team. So a huge thank you to them, and really hope that you go and check this out. We think it's a wonderful and an awesome capability. Now, if you go back to that diagram that I was alluding to before and I walked through before, where we sit as F5 in this overall ecosystem is we can help organizations secure the front door for those AI applications. We can also help organizations scale up data ingest for those data stores that are being used for RAG or for training. And there's loads of examples of that. I'll actually walk you through one of the largest enterprise examples that we have today about what we're doing for data ingest. And then last but not least, also securing and protecting as well as load balancing all that traffic downstream to an AI factory. So you take a step back, and this is what we're able to do at F5. And when you really think through all those use cases, you think about the software development lifecycle, you think about what the request response chain is looking like today for an AI application or for the request flow for an AI application, F5 is there. And we're super excited to be doing this partnership with Microsoft and all the different ways that our technologies come together. And I hope for those who are tuning in, maybe this is the first time you're getting exposed to this, that you go and you check us out on the web, as well as go and check out some of the great integrations that we've built with Azure today. So what are we doing with respect to AI? You've already seen that high-level diagram, but more directly, I want to speak to 3 use cases that we have right now. One is around data ingest. Again, you've heard the RAG use case, which is people need to be able to access all the information that they have in their local environments or their local data stores and use that as part of inference. Or you have organizations that need to leverage as much data that they have as part of training. We can help. I'll walk you through an example of that in a moment. We can also help organizations that are going down the path of leveraging lots of different AI technologies. And we see some organizations leveraging cloud services and cloud capabilities, but we've also seen some who are hybrid and multi-cloud who are going down the path of building AI factories. And we can help those types of organizations with load balancing, improving the efficiency, the security, and even bringing multi-tenancy capabilities atop those AI factories. That's something that we can do at F5, and we've gotten great feedback from our customers who've deployed our solutions in that way. And then last but not least, remember I talked about APIs gluing the world together. We can help organizations with respect to security. We can help with API discovery and API security for all the AI inferencing that they're doing today. This is just an example, as I was alluding to before, around high performance load balancing and data ingest. We work with an organization in the world that is ingesting so much raw data, raw binary streams. They're collecting all that information in their regional data stores, and those regional data stores are in the cloud. And they eventually want to bring that information to an AI factory that can be composed in the cloud, or it could be on-prem, depending on various use cases. And this is an example where they can leverage a combination of F5 technologies, and in this particular case, leveraging Big IP. And Big IP that you can deploy on-prem, you can deploy Big IP in Azure as well. But the nice thing about this technology is that it can do things like load balancing, traffic management, security, access control, and that's what this organization is doing. And so as they're ingesting all this information and trying to leverage it for data ingest or training, F5 is absolutely there for them. As we get to the end here, I want to thank you all for joining me. We walked through what we're doing at F5. We spent some time going through the core pillars of artificial intelligence, a little bit about our portfolio. I walked you through NGINX as a service, something we're super proud and excited about. And again, huge shout out to the Microsoft team for helping us make that experience happen for you all. And of course, we walked through some use cases. For more information, please go ahead and contact us. AzureTeam@f5.com. That's our email address. We look forward to responding to your questions. And again, if you want to go deep in any one of these products and technologies, we'd love to do that with you. So again, thanks for hanging around. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of Ignite.